Hello everybody, welcome to a voiced over episode of Phantom Craft episode 7. The reason it's voiced over is because my microphone didn't record for this episode for some reason, and it didn't record for the next one either, so the next one's going to be voiced over too. In the last episode we also got this villager thing with a skeleton on the roof that I could not shoot because I had no arrows. Yeah, it turns out it's useless because we have the easy villager mod in this world, so that was a very fun thing that I found out. So shortly after that I grabbed the netherite from the last episode and put it in this chest, probably to never be seen again. I then started gathering the materials that I would need for the villager things because I wanted to make them, but I needed a bed, which there was one in this chest the entire time, but me being me did not see it, and instead tried to make a hammer to avoid a trip to the river to get sand, which didn't work as this mod pack does not in fact have any hammers in it, which was disappointing, so I had to go all the way to the river, or I could have killed these fancy creepers for it, which I didn't want to do. On the way there I had to fight this enderman with the most lag I think this server has ever had. If you just watch this clip now, you can see I hit it like twice before it even realises that it's been hit. But I do get an ender pearl. Once I'm at the river, I notice this funny looking lava thing, and then take the singular 2 blocks of sand. So I'm going to have to come back there again next time I need some. So that was very good forward planning for me. I then started smelting the sand. I then took the glass out of the furnace. I got some iron out of the chest. And then I also got some logs out of the other chest. After that I made them into planks, a chest and a hopper. I then started making some glass panes, and then I needed to craft a bed, not realising I had one the entire time, so I spent a while looking for string and couldn't find any. So then I looked to see if Sam had any string, and stole his villagers. He didn't have any string apart from those 3, so now I need one more piece of string, so I made some shears to go and look for some sheep, and which gave me some wool from a quest anyway, so that was convenient. I then took the singular piece of string and made 4 string into a singular piece of wool. So I had 2 pieces of wool. Then Sam said he had some items to give me. That's very kind of him. I then took my last piece of wool from the chest and then I crafted a bed. Again, not realising I already had one. I then crafted the villager breeder, put a hopper there, or tried to, and then Sam set me on fire, despite the fact that I shouldn't be able to be set on fire because of the obsidian skull. I then tried to put the villagers in the feeder, while Sam was trying to kill me, repeatedly, with poison and lightning and whatever that is, which did in fact almost kill me. Then, after saying to him I was about to die, he zapped me with lightning. And then I couldn't find my gravestone because I died on a ladder. So then I had to find one of my ender pearls and craft it with the grave key to go to my grave, which was out here for some reason. But on the bright side, my knowledge of death increased, so I gained some extra skill points. I then put some carrots into the villager breeder, and then went over to fight Matthew the Mythical, who had awoken nearby. It was one of the most dangerous fights you could ever imagine, and I risked death about 50 times, and it was literally just me stood there hitting him with a sword whilst he struggled to even get near me. It was incredibly underwhelming. He did seem to have quite a lot of resistance, even though his effects had fire resistance, but my sword was only doing like 3 damage to him. And then he dropped a sword, which was actually not very good. I know that because I tested it out on Sam shortly after I got it, who then retaliated by hitting me with his actually good sword, which almost killed me in 1 hit. I then picked up a flawed brawler's gem, which I have no idea what I actually did with. I think I just put it in a barrel somewhere. But the baby villagers were starting to materialise in one of the chests. Sam then started trying to steal my belongings.
Oh, that's a lot of damage!
Then almost killed me when I tried to shoo him away. I then decided to make a Prudentium sword instead of a Inferium one, as it was much better. So that started a whole journey of making prosperity gemstones and ingots. And then I had to upgrade them into the Prudentium versions. I then realised what Sam had done with the baby villagers, but because he kept placing them in my house for some reason. I then had to make the Inferium infusion crystal, which was quite an annoying thing to make. So I decided to look to see what other things I could make using the Easy Villagers mod. There wasn't really anything that I could make that easily, so I decided to just try and make some traders. So I took the baby villagers, and then, completely forgetting about them, I started making the infusion crystal. I then made some Prudentium essence. I just realised it's called Prudentium, and I've been pronouncing it wrong this whole time, but I'm not going back and re-recording that. But anyway, I made some Prudentium essence. I ended up with enough to make the 2 prosperity gemstones and 1 ingot. And then I had to make some more, but I made some paper instead, which I then immediately just put in a chest, and I don't think I actually used that. I then decided that, you know what would be a great idea? I'm going to try and make it with the ingot instead of the infusion crystal. I don't know why it took me so long to figure that one out. I tried it twice before realising, and then that was a pretty stupid thing for me to do. I then wasted all my bone meal on these crops because apparently bone meal does not make them grow. So that was quite a waste. I then stole all of Sam's Inferium, and when I say all of it, I mean 4 of it. I then tried to once again upgrade my sword instead of the ingot with Prudentium, so that was also a pretty stupid thing to do. But I did complete a quest, and that gave me a Prudentium growth accelerator, which I did what any normal person would do, and put under a singular block of farmland in my farm. I then repaired the floor from the various holes I dug, trying to get under the farm, and made a trader block, which I then placed in the trading hall. I then grabbed a baby villager from the chest, and then tried to put it in the block, which it did work, although apparently they do not grow up in there, meaning that it was completely useless to me. I then had to go and try and make a lectern, so the villager could actually get some trades. And so I first of all checked to see if Sam had any books, misspelling it horrendously in the process, twice. He did not have any regular books, apart from these ones, which I did borrow 3 of them, so I'm sure he won't mind about that. After that, I decided to make a bookshelf with it. So I fell down this hole, not a great idea, and then I went over to get some wood to make the bookshelf. And conveniently, the first piece of wood was right here outside my house, so I grabbed that and then went inside to see if I had any more, which I did. I had dark oak and various other things, so I then, for some reason, sorted the chest and then started trying to make a bookshelf. In a very weird way, because I tried to make a pressure plate first for some reason. I then tried to make the bookshelf, but it didn't work, which was strange, so I thought maybe it has to be the same type of wood. So what I did then was I used the same type of wood for it, but that didn't work either. Then, because I thought it was a bit strange how I couldn't craft a bookshelf at all, I used JEI, and it turns out I needed to use only oak wood to be able to craft the bookshelf, instead of any other wood type in the entire game, which was rather annoying. So then I had to go out and find another oak tree, which, luckily, it didn't take me that long. However, me being me, walked straight past it and went in the exact opposite direction to try and find an oak tree, and instead I just found some random tiny bush on the floor. However, it did have an oak log in it, and that was all I needed, so it doesn't actually matter that much. I then grabbed that oak log and used this conveniently placed crafting table here, still don't know how that got there, in order to make the bookshelf, which I did, and then promptly forgot how to make a lectern. And I don't even know what I was attempting to craft there, so I had to use JEI for that one as well. Anyway, I then made the lectern, went over to the villager trading hall, went all the way over to the baby villager that still hadn't grown up because I don't, so I had to put him in this little box here.
What? No, alright, I know that sounds bad.
And put a little slab so I can see inside. That way I could tell when it finally grew up. After that, I found this wandering trader who was selling a sharpness 10 and looting 5 diamond axe. I don't know what any of the other enchantments do. So I did what any normal person would do and planted some sugarcane. I then met with again, who gave me a lot of lecterns, so that whole thing trying to find lecterns was a waste of time. He then started randomly casting random spells on me again. I then tried to put the villagers in the box, somehow launched one through the wall, and then placed the other 2 in successfully. Sam then tried to put the last one in and did the exact same thing as me, so he went over to pick it up again. I then fell down this hole whilst trying to escape Sam's chain lightning attack, which I don't even know why he had it. He then tried to set me on fire and ended up getting himself stuck in the ground, so that was amusing. And for the rest of the video, or pretty much, he was just rolling around. He then gave me the scroll to try and get me to do the same thing, however, for some reason it wasn't working for me. And then, randomly, at some point, with no warning whatsoever, I just kind of fell into the floor. So I don't know what this whole glitch was all about, but then my shield was inside my head for some reason. But unlike Sam, I found a way to not be in the floor anymore, although it didn't work very often and would periodically just put me back in the floor again. So that was a strange thing that happened. Then I received a very strange message from Sam in the chat, which was, to be honest, not really what I was expecting. He said that there was something behind my house. I went over and I just saw him staring at some llamas. So I'm going to end the video there.